The twin moons hung low over the jagged horizon of Draconis V, their silvery glow pooling in the dusty atmosphere like spilled paint on an artist's canvas. Beneath them sprawled a vineyard unlike any Earth had ever known, its vines thicker than a man's arm and its grapes shimmering faintly with bioluminescent hues. This was the prized cultivation of the Zrinthians, a sentient alien race renowned across the galaxy for their celebrated elixirs. To humans, the Zrinthians' prized creation was a liquid euphorium, potent enough to light up the neural pathways with euphoria and a pleasant fog. But there was one problem: they couldn't drink it. Enter Sam Kelso, one-time sommelier, full-time intergalactic freeloader. He scratched his chin as he gazed at the rolling alien vineyard, marveling at the sight. Beside him, his companion, Lena Myers, the exobiologist-turned-adventurer, adjusted her goggles, scanning the vines with her high-tech oculars. "This is it," Sam declared, throwing his arms out dramatically. "The holy grail of beverages. The apex of booze evolution. It's as if Dionysus himself vacationed here." Lena snorted. "You mean, it's an overpriced alien wine that humans can't drink without their insides lighting up like fireworks?" Sam wagged a finger. "Correction, most humans can't drink it. But I, my friend, am built different." Lena rolled her eyes. Sam, ever the optimist, seemed to have an iron stomach that could handle anything from radioactive moonshine to deep space energy drinks. But this was uncharted territory. The Zrinthians had warned, in their melodious but firm tone, that human biology couldn't withstand the wine's potency. They'd watched humans try before, only to collapse in spasms or worse. "Just don't kill yourself," Lena said, tapping a button on her goggles to record the scene. "Your death would make for terrible data." Sam smirked, producing a flask and stepping boldly toward the glowing vineyard. He hadn't traveled halfway across the galaxy for nothing. And besides, he reasoned, the Zrinthians' warnings weren't a deterrent, they were a challenge. He plucked a glimmering grape and popped it into his mouth. The reaction was instantaneous. A spark of electricity seemed to shoot through his veins. His pupils dilated, his grin stretched wide, and an otherworldly laugh bubbled from his throat. "Oh yeah," he said, breathless. "That's the stuff." But as Lena approached to check on him, something peculiar happened. The grape's bioluminescent glow wasn't fading. Instead, it intensified, radiating from Sam's chest. His skin seemed to pulse with light, as though he were a human lantern. Lena raised her goggles and took a cautious step back. "Ah, Sam," she said, her voice uncharacteristically hesitant. "Are you supposed to be glowing?" Sam looked down at himself, then back at Lena. "That's new." Before either of them could analyze further, the ground beneath their feet rumbled. The vineyard came alive, the vines twisting and writhing like serpents. Sam yelped as a particularly aggressive tendril snatched the flask from his hand and vanished into the soil. "Did that vine just steal my drink?" he asked incredulously. Lena's goggles beeped furiously as they scanned the anomaly. "It's not just the vines," she said, gesturing to the glowing grapes. "The entire vineyard's responding to whatever's in your system. You've triggered something." The rumbling intensified, and a deep, resonant hum filled the air. A glowing figure emerged from the misty edge of the vineyard, a Zrinthian elder, their crystalline form shimmering like starlight. They hovered toward the pair, their melodic voice echoing in their heads. "You dare consume the sacred fruit of illumination?" the elder asked, their tone a mix of awe and outrage. "You have poisoned yourselves and awakened the guardian of the grape." Sam blinked. "Guardian of the what now?" Before the elder could elaborate, a thunderous roar split the night. From the center of the vineyard erupted a massive, serpentine creature composed entirely of glowing vines and bioluminescent fruits. It loomed over them, its glowing eyes locked onto Sam. "Run?" Lena suggested. Sam didn't need convincing. They bolted through the vineyard, the guardian crashing through the vines behind them. Lena's goggles mapped out an escape route, but the vineyard seemed to shift and reshape itself, cutting off their paths at every turn. The creature wasn't just chasing them, it was hurting them. "What did you do, Sam?" Lena shouted as they ducked under a writhing vine. I ate a grape, he shouted back. One lousy grape. Lena glared at him. Of course you did. As they ran, Sam noticed something odd. The glow radiating from his chest seemed to calm the vines nearest to him, causing them to retreat slightly. He held out his hands, and the vines recoiled further. I think it's afraid of me, he said. No, Lena corrected, yanking him forward as the Guardian's jaws snapped dangerously close behind them. It's afraid of whatever's happening to you. Big difference. They reached a clearing, the Guardian hesitating at its edge as if reluctant to leave the dense vineyard. The Zrinthian elder appeared again, hovering silently. You must leave this place, they said. Your kind cannot withstand the wrath of the Guardian. The sacred fruit is not for humans. Sam doubled over, catching his breath. Noted, he panted. We're leaving. But as they turned to retreat, the elder held up a crystalline hand. No. You cannot leave until the balance is restored. The vineyard has been awakened. It will not rest. What does that mean? Lena asked. It means, the elder said gravely, you must face the trial of illumination. Lena groaned. You've got to be kidding me. Sam straightened up, the glow from his chest pulsing rhythmically now. Trial of illumination, huh, he said. Sounds doable. What's the worst that could happen? The elder didn't answer. Instead, they vanished, leaving Sam and Lena alone in the clearing. The Guardian roared again, its glowing eyes locking onto Sam. Why do I feel like the trial starts now? Lena muttered. The Guardian advanced slowly, its massive, writhing body glowing with an intensity that painted the clearing in sharp contrasts of light and shadow. Its luminous gaze locked onto Sam, and it let out a guttural roar that vibrated the very air around them. Sam gulped, his hands still glowing faintly, as if his body couldn't quite decide whether it was terrified or energized. Lena yanked him by the arm. Sam, in case it isn't obvious, we're a bit out of our league here. No kidding. Sam retorted, stumbling as he followed her toward a cluster of jagged rocks at the clearing's edge. Got any bright ideas, genius? Lena's goggles flickered as she scanned their surroundings. Working on it. If we can figure out what's driving this thing, maybe we can. She didn't get to finish. The Guardian lunged, its vine-like appendages whipping forward with shocking speed. Sam shoved Lena aside just in time, and the tendrils smashed into the rocks where they had stood moments before, leaving behind a jagged crater. Whoa! Sam shouted, scrambling to his feet. I'm glowing, not bulletproof. Lena glared at him. Try glowing harder. Maybe it'll scare it off. Sam held out his hands experimentally, but the Guardian didn't even flinch. Its body pulsed with light, growing brighter as it coiled to strike again. Just as Sam braced for impact, Lena grabbed his wrist and dragged him toward the center of the clearing. Wait, what are you? Trust me, she shouted, pulling him into a pool of pale light that emanated from a cluster of glowing stones embedded in the ground. The Guardian hesitated at the edge of the light, its glowing eyes narrowing. It's avoiding the stones, Lena whispered. I think there's some kind of neutral zone. Sam squinted at the glowing rocks beneath their feet. Great. So we've got a 10-foot wide safe spot and a monster that can level trees. What now? Lena's goggles beeped, her voice laced with urgency. The Guardian isn't just chasing you, it's reacting to the glow in your chest. Whatever you triggered when you ate that grape, it's the key to all this. We need to figure out what it wants before we're toast. Great plan, Doc. Sam snapped. Except we're a little busy being chased by the world's angriest salad. The Guardian let out another roar, the vines at its back writhing violently. This time, instead of striking, the creature began to circle the clearing, its glowing body moving with predatory intent. Sam felt the hair on the back of his neck stand on end. I don't think it's giving up, he said. Lena's goggles chimed, and her face lit up. Wait, there's a pattern to the glow. Look at its body. Those pulses of light, they match the rhythm of your glow. Sam glanced down at his chest, then at the Guardian. Sure enough, the pulses of light radiating from his body mirrored the creature's bioluminescent patterns, though his were weaker and less defined. "What does that mean?" he asked. "It means it doesn't want to kill you," Lena said slowly, a note of realization creeping into her voice. "It's trying to sync with you." Sam blinked. "Sync with me? What am I, a Bluetooth speaker?" "Think about it," Lena said, ignoring his sarcasm. "You ate the grape. You're glowing. That means you've got whatever the sacred fruit's energy is inside you. The Guardian isn't just chasing you, it's drawn to you." Sam stared at her, dumbfounded. "So, what?" "It's trying to, what? Download me." Lena sighed. "Not download, Sam. Communicate. Or connect. The vineyard is alive, remember? It's all one big organism. And you just became part of it." The Guardian stopped circling, its massive body coiled at the edge of the neutral zone. It let out a low, resonant hum that vibrated through the ground beneath their feet. Sam felt the glow in his chest respond, the pulses growing stronger. "Ah, Lena," he said nervously. "I think it's sinking." "Good," Lena said, adjusting her goggles. "If it's sinking, that means it might not want to kill us after all." "Might?" Sam echoed. "I'm not exactly reassured." Before Lena could respond, the Guardian lunged forward, stopping just short of the glowing stones. Its glowing eyes bore into Sam's, and for a brief moment, he thought he heard a voice, not a sound, but a thought, clear and sharp in his mind. "Prove your worth." Sam stumbled backward, clutching his head. "Did you hear that?" "Hear what?" Lena asked, her brow furrowed. "The thing just talked to me. In my head." Lena's expression grew serious. "What did it say?" Sam hesitated. "It said, 'Prove your worth.'" The Guardian roared again, its body pulsing with light. This time, the ground beneath the glowing stones began to shift, the rocks rearranging themselves into a swirling, circular pattern. A beam of light shot up from the center, illuminating the clearing in blinding brilliance. "Sam," Lena said, her voice urgent. "I think this is the trial." "No kidding," he shouted over the roar of the light. "What am I supposed to do?" The light dimmed, revealing a path of glowing vines leading toward the heart of the vineyard. The Guardian receded slightly, as if waiting for him to follow. Lena grabbed his arm. "This is it. Whatever the trial is, it's happening out there." Sam looked at the path, then at the Guardian. "You're saying I have to go in there? Alone?" "Not alone," Lena said firmly. "I'm coming with you." Sam opened his mouth to argue, but the look in her eyes stopped him. He sighed, squaring his shoulders. "Fine. But if this gets us killed, I'm blaming you." Together, they stepped onto the path, the glowing vines parting before them like a living curtain. The vineyard seemed to hum with anticipation, the air thick with energy. As they moved deeper into the heart of the vineyard, Sam felt the glow in his chest grow stronger, each pulse resonating with the rhythm of the vines around them. "What do you think we're supposed to do?" he asked, his voice low. Lena's goggles beeped softly. "Whatever it is, it's not just about surviving." The Guardian called it a trial. "That means it's testing you." "Testing me for what?" "I don't know," Lena admitted. "But I think we're about to find out." The path opened into a vast chamber at the center of the vineyard, its walls formed by towering vines that pulsed with light. At the center of the chamber stood a pedestal, and atop it rested a single glowing fruit, larger and brighter than any they had seen before. Sam approached cautiously, his glowing chest matching the rhythm of the fruit's light. The Guardian's voice echoed in his mind once more. "Consume, and prove your strength." Lena's eyes widened. "Sam, wait." But it was too late. Sam reached out, his hand trembling, and plucked the glowing fruit from the pedestal. Sam held the glowing fruit in his hand, its light so intense it cast sharp shadows across the chamber walls. The air thrummed with an almost electric energy, and the vineyard seemed to hold its breath, vines swaying silently in anticipation. Lena's voice echoed faintly in his ears, warning him to stop, but he was transfixed by the fruit. It pulsed with a rhythm identical to the glow in his chest, like two halves of a single heartbeat. "Consume, and prove your strength," the voice repeated in his mind, insistent and unyielding. "What if this is a trap?" Lena whispered, her eyes darting nervously to the writhing walls of the chamber. "What if eating that thing kills you, or worse?" Sam smirked weakly, though his usual bravado was tinged with uncertainty. "Guess there's only one way to find out." Before Lena could stop him, Sam bit into the fruit. It burst in his mouth with a flavor so intense it was almost overwhelming, a mix of sweetness, bitterness, and something entirely alien. The glow in his chest exploded outward, enveloping his entire body in radiant light. He staggered, dropping the fruit, as the energy coursing through him threatened to tear him apart. "Sam!" Lena shouted, rushing to his side. She reached out to steady him but pulled back when the heat radiating from his body singed her gloves. The Guardian roared, the sound reverberating through the chamber like an earthquake. Its massive form coiled tighter as it loomed over them, its glowing eyes locked on Sam. The vines that made up its body writhed and twisted, extending toward him as though they were drawn to his energy. Sam fell to his knees, his hands clutching his chest. The glow intensified, blinding Lena and forcing her to shield her eyes. When the light finally dimmed, she gasped. Sam was no longer just glowing, his entire form had transformed. His skin shimmered like liquid gold, and his eyes burned with an inner light that seemed almost alive. "Sam?" Lena asked cautiously, taking a step closer. He looked up at her, his voice trembling but steady. I feel incredible." Before she could respond, the Guardian attacked. Its massive vine-like limbs lashed out, but this time Sam didn't run. He raised his hands instinctively, and a wave of energy erupted from his body, slamming into the Guardian and sending it crashing against the chamber wall. The creature roared in fury, but it quickly recovered, its eyes blazing with renewed intensity. "Sam, what did you do?" Lena asked, her voice filled with equal parts awe and fear. "I don't know," he admitted, his glowing hands flexing as if testing his newfound power. "But I think I can fight it." The Guardian lunged again, its massive jaws snapping shut mere inches from Sam. He dodged with inhuman speed, moving as though the energy coursing through him had rewired his reflexes. He countered with another blast of light, but this time the Guardian absorbed the attack, its body glowing brighter as it fed on his energy. "It's getting stronger," Lena shouted, her goggles scanning the creature frantically. "Sam, stop feeding it." Sam gritted his teeth, his glowing form flickering as the energy within him surged uncontrollably. "I don't think I can stop." The Guardian roared again, but this time its voice was layered with something new, words. "Strength without control is chaos. Prove your wisdom, or be consumed." Lena's eyes widened. "Sam, it's not just testing your strength. It's testing your ability to control it." Sam nodded, his jaw set with determination. He took a deep breath, forcing himself to focus. The glow around him steadied, its erratic pulses smoothing into a calm, rhythmic flow. The Guardian hesitated, its massive form coiled as though waiting for his next move. Sam raised his hands, but instead of attacking, he stepped forward. The energy radiating from him softened, its light growing warmer and more inviting. The Guardian's vines twitched uncertainly, but it didn't retreat. "Sam, what are you doing?" Lena asked, her voice tight with concern. "I'm showing it I'm not a threat," he said, his voice calm but firm. "It's not just about power. It's about balance." The Guardian tilted its massive head, its glowing eyes narrowing. Sam took another step forward, his hands outstretched. The vines surrounding the chamber began to pulse in time with his glow, their movements growing less aggressive. "You see?" Sam said, his voice directed at the creature. "I'm not here to destroy you. I'm here to understand." The Guardian's massive body relaxed slightly, its glowing eyes dimming. For a moment, it seemed as though the trial might be over. But then the entire chamber trembled, and the glowing fruit on the pedestal erupted into light, sending a shockwave through the room. The Guardian roared, its body surging toward Sam in a final, desperate attack. Lena screamed his name, but Sam didn't flinch. He stood his ground, his glowing form radiating calm and resolve. As the creature's massive jaws closed in, Sam extended his hands, and a sphere of light enveloped him and the Guardian. The room was filled with blinding brilliance, forcing Lena to shield her eyes once more. When the light faded, she gasped at what she saw. The Guardian was still, its massive form coiled protectively around Sam. Its eyes, once blazing with hostility, now glowed with a soft, steady light. Sam lowered his hands, his body shimmering faintly but no longer glowing as intensely as before. The Guardian released him, its massive body unraveling as it withdrew to the edges of the chamber. It let out a low, resonant hum, a sound that Lena recognized as one of approval. "You did it," Lena said, her voice barely above a whisper. "You passed the trial." Sam turned to her, a weary but triumphant smile on his face. "I think I did more than that." Before she could ask what he meant, the Zrinthian Elder appeared once again, their crystalline form shimmering like a mirage. They hovered toward Sam and Lena, their melodic voice echoing in their minds. "You have proven yourself worthy," the Elder said, their tone reverent. "The vineyard has accepted you as its steward." "Steward?" Sam repeated, his eyebrows shooting up. "Hold on, I didn't sign up for..." The Elder raised a crystalline hand, silencing him. "The sacred fruit has chosen you. You are now bound to its power, its purpose, and its responsibility. The Guardian will guide you, and the vineyard will thrive under your care." Sam blinked, his mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. Lena smirked, crossing her arms. "Looks like you've got a new job, Sam." "Great," he muttered. "I go looking for a drink and end up with a cosmic to-do list." The Guardian let out a low rumble, its glowing eyes watching Sam with an almost expectant look. He sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. "Fine," he said. "But I'm gonna need a lot more of that fruit if I'm doing this." The Elder nodded. "The vineyard will provide." As the chamber's light dimmed and the vines receded, Lena leaned closer to Sam. "So, how does it feel to be the galaxy's first intergalactic grape farmer?" Sam groaned. "Let's not make that a thing." Sam squinted as the light around the chamber faded, leaving only the faint glow of the Guardian's massive form and the bioluminescent vines that seemed to pulse with contentment. The Zrinthian Elder hovered nearby, their crystalline body casting faint prismatic rays as they regarded Sam with something that might have been approval or amusement. "So," Sam began, rubbing his temples as the lingering energy coursed through his veins, "let me get this straight. I eat one grape, almost get annihilated by a glowing monster, and now I'm, what, the vineyard's babysitter?" "Steward," the Elder corrected, their melodic voice resonating in his mind. "The sacred fruit does not choose lightly. Your worth has been proven, and your connection to the vineyard is now eternal." Sam groaned, leaning against a vine-covered wall. "Great. Eternal. Just what I needed." Lena smirked, her goggles flickering faintly as they recalibrated. "Could be worse," she said. "At least you didn't get eaten by the Guardian. Or vaporized by that fruit." "Thanks for the pep talk, Doc," Sam muttered. The Guardian let out a low rumble, its glowing eyes narrowing as it loomed closer. Despite its earlier hostility, the creature now radiated a calm, almost protective energy. Sam sighed, raising his hands in mock surrender. "All right, big guy," he said. "What now? Do I water the vines? Sing to them? What's my job description here?" The Elder's voice chimed in again. "The vineyard thrives on balance. You are now its heart, its guide. It will provide you with sustenance, knowledge, and power, but you must also protect it from those who would exploit its gifts." Sam's jaw dropped. "Wait a second, protect it? From who?" As if on cue, the chamber shook violently. The vines writhed, their glowing tendrils snapping and twisting as a deep, mechanical hum filled the air. Lena's goggles beeped frantically, and her eyes widened as she scanned the source of the disturbance. Sam, she said, her voice tight, we've got company. A section of the chamber wall exploded inward, and a group of heavily armed figures in sleek black armor stormed through the breach. Their helmets glinted in the faint light, and their weapons glowed ominously with energy. At their head was a tall, imposing figure whose voice crackled through a built-in speaker. Step away from the fruit, the figure barked, leveling a weapon at Sam. This vineyard is under new management. Sam blinked. Are you kidding me? Who even are you guys? Salvagers, Lena muttered, her voice laced with disdain. Corporate goons who raid alien worlds for anything valuable. I've seen their type before. The leader raised a hand, and the group spread out, their weapons trained on the glowing vines. You're trespassing, the leader said. But since you've already done the hard part and unlocked the vineyard's secrets, we'll take it from here. Sam exchanged a glance with Lena. Yeah, I don't think that's going to fly. The Guardian roared, its massive form uncoiling as it positioned itself between the intruders and the sacred fruit. The salvagers hesitated, their weapons trembling slightly as the creature's glowing eyes bore into them. Stand down, the leader barked, though their voice betrayed a hint of uncertainty. We're not leaving without that fruit. Sam stepped forward, his body still faintly shimmering with the vineyard's energy. Listen, pal, he said, his tone casual but firm. This place doesn't belong to you, or me, for that matter. It's alive. And it doesn't take kindly to thieves. The leader sneered. Spare me the lecture. Step aside, or we'll. Before he could finish, the Guardian lunged. Chaos erupted as the salvagers opened fire, their energy weapons blasting beams of light that ricocheted harmlessly off the creature's glowing form. The chamber shook as the Guardian retaliated, its massive vine-like limbs swiping through the intruders like a living storm. Lena! Sam shouted, ducking as a stray beam of energy scorched the wall behind him. Any bright ideas? She tapped furiously at her goggles, scanning the battlefield. The Guardian can handle them, she said. But if they damage the vines, it could destabilize the entire vineyard. Sam grimaced, the glow in his chest flaring as he stepped toward the fray. Guess it's time to test this new steward thing. He raised his hands, focusing on the energy within him. The glow intensified, spreading outward in a wave that swept across the chamber. The vines responded instantly, their movements becoming more coordinated as they lashed out at the salvagers, disarming them and binding their limbs. The leader cursed, struggling against the glowing tendrils that wrapped around their weapon. This isn't over, they snarled, but the vines silenced them, pulling them toward the chamber's edge. As the last of the salvagers were subdued, the Guardian let out a triumphant roar. The vines receded slightly, their movements slowing as the chamber's light returned to its steady, rhythmic glow. Sam exhaled heavily, his hands trembling as the energy within him subsided. Well, he said, turning to Lena, that was fun. Lena smirked, dusting herself off. You handled yourself pretty well for a guy who stumbled into this 5 minutes ago. The Zrinthian elder reappeared, their crystalline form shimmering faintly. You have fulfilled your first duty as steward, they said, their voice resonating with approval. The vineyard recognizes your resolve. Sam raised an eyebrow. Does that mean no more random attacks? The elder tilted their head. The vineyard will always attract those who seek its power. But you are now its protector. You will not face these challenges alone. The Guardian rumbled softly, its massive form curling protectively around the sacred fruit. Sam sighed, running a hand through his hair. Great, he muttered. Looks like I've got my work cut out for me. Lena clapped him on the shoulder. Cheer up, Sam. You're a legend now. The first human to become a Zrinthian steward? You'll be in every history book from here to Earth. Yeah, because that's what I wanted out of this, Sam said, rolling his eyes. I just came here for a drink. The elder's voice softened. And you have received more than you sought. The vineyard has chosen wisely. Sam groaned but couldn't suppress a small smile. Despite everything, the chaos, the danger, the unexpected responsibilities, there was a part of him that felt fulfilled. He glanced at Lena, who was already tinkering with her goggles, muttering about data and discoveries. "So," he said, "you sticking around, or are you off to your next adventure?" Lena looked up, grinning. "Are you kidding? This place is a gold mine of research. I'm not leaving until I've cataloged every glowing grape in this vineyard." Sam chuckled. "Great. Guess we're in this together." As the chamber settled into a peaceful hum, the Guardian let out a contented rumble, and the vines swayed gently in the soft light. Sam took a deep breath, the weight of his new role settling on his shoulders. "All right, Vineyard," he said, glancing around. "Let's see what you've got." Lena raised an eyebrow. "You're talking to plants now?" "Hey," Sam said with a grin, "if I'm going to be a steward, I might as well start acting like one." And with that, the two of them stepped into the glow of the vineyard, ready to face whatever came next, together.